Alright, we'll do a little shooting off our Thorofare tripod here with Dale's short barrel 223 Ackley improved. It's in our Remington 700 synthetic stock that's been retrofitted with our Little Pro Gunworks Remington 700 Arca plate. And we just got some Thorofare loads here that Dale put together. Not a proven load or anything. Never even been shot past 200 yards, I don't think. So we got a plate out there at 460, 16-inch square. We'll see how we can do. I'll see if the we'll see if the system's stable enough for me to stay on that plate relatively easily. I think it will be, but we'll see how we do. A little bit low, but not too bad. And I don't have proven data for this at long range, so that's not bad. Looks like our wind was perfect. When you think about your average deer hunter that might be using this in a blind or coyote hunting or something like that, you know, it's plenty stable for most of your applications. You're having no trouble hitting that plate at 460. About a 4 or 5 inch group going. I'm by no means a professional shooter, but I get to play one on TV. All stacking up in that same place. Pretty uneventful. A little bit, but you know, again, this is not there's no load development done on this whatsoever, so all things considered, it's still a very dead deer. Back down off the rest of them. I think we made that point. That's what, like a 10-shot group. It's occupying the lower left corner of that plate, which again is a 16-inch square, so whatever that is, a 10-shot group, that's about 8 inches square. So plenty good for most people's applications for deer hunting, coyote hunting, prairie dog shooting, that sort of thing. Alright, now we got the same rifle setup, this time with the BOG Deathgrip tripod, which is going to be a little more rigid, but again is going to be heavier, so you just have to decide what's the right setup for you. I'm going to try to favor a little more toward the upper right. Hopefully we can see our impacts. See how that goes. Right in the center. Just above it. Back to the center. A little up and to the right. Hey guys, Tim with Little Pro Gunworks. Welcome back to the channel. Well, I'm out at the farm today, not to shoot long range, but to talk to you guys about tripods. So it's mid-August, and hunting seasons are right around the corner. We've been getting a lot of questions about tripod products that we offer. You guys have a lot of questions about what might be right for them. For their situation. So I just want to do a quick video here to tell you a little bit about the two products that we offer in that category, and go over their differences, and then go over the accessories that we offer with each of these products, and tell you a little bit more about each of them. So the first one I guess we'll talk about is our Thorofare ultralight carbon fiber tripod. This is obviously, both of these products are meant for hunting and field use, and the Thorofare tripod we've had out for a couple years now. It's been incredibly popular, but guys still have some questions about it, and that's understandable, so I'm hoping to clear up some of those things. So the first thing we'll talk about, I guess, with both of these two products is the dimensions. So this is our Thorofare carbon fiber tripod, and next to it we have the BOG Deathgrip tripod This one happens to be the aluminum version, and we have retrofitted it with our DGA 2.0 adapter kit so that it has a ball mount. The overall dimensions of both of these products without the BOG saddle in place, the BOG Deathgrip tripod collapsed, is 29.5 inches long, 5 inches in diameter, and it's 8.6 pounds with the saddle and 6.6 without it. And with the saddle, it's longer than 29.5. It's probably 35 or so. And then the Thorofare is quite a bit smaller. When it's collapsed, it's only 22.5 versus 29.5, and it's only 3 inches in diameter rather than 5. And it's, with this long center column, it's 4.2 pounds. If you have the short 2-inch center column that also comes with it, it's like 3 pounds 12 ounces, somewhere in that neighborhood. So very compact, very lightweight. This one's carbon fiber, this one's aluminum. So, and the frame being so much smaller, that accounts for a lot of the weight difference. They both have an identical ball mount on top of them. So they each have the same unit on top, which is a 40 millimeter ball mount that allows you to quickly adjust for angle out in the field, because as we know, the ground is never level where we hunt, so we want to have the ability to get our weapon level before we take our shot, or our spotting scope, or whatever we happen to be using. So that was the purpose of retrofitting both of these with a ball mount. But what separates our product from most others that I've seen out there is the clamp head unit. So on top of our units, we used to offer this dual purpose clamp as an accessory, where now it's just comes standard. So what do I mean by that? What does dual purpose mean? Well, this clamp head unit on top accepts ARCA and Picatinny, both. So whatever you have, if you have a Picatinny rail on your rifle, you can keyway it in here. And if you have these accessory ARCA plates, we send one with each of these products, you can attach that to your spotting scope or rangefinder or whatever you have that has quarter 20 threads, and allows you to interface it with that as well. So you don't need separate heads, you don't need everything to be ARCA or everything to be Picatinny. You can have both and just use one head unit, and that's what separates us from a lot of other companies. Is most companies don't offer that. It's a part that you have to source on your own and install after the fact, where ours come with them right out of the box. And what's special about this QR, it's basically a QR style, which means it has a tension knob on one side and a quick release lever on the other side. And the reason that's a benefit too, versus the traditional just thumb screw to tighten style heads, is that this QR, it allows you to quickly adjust it for whatever tension you need, but also when you go to secure whatever the object is that you're putting in here, whether it's your rifle or spotting scope or whatever, once you set the original tension for how much pressure you want on this cam, the cam allows you to apply more leverage to the fixture than the thumb screw would. Because a lot of times we're out in the field, we're hunting, we have gloves on, that sort of thing. It's not convenient to grab these little knurled thumb screws and tighten them down. So this lever allows you to get adequate leverage and really cinch down on whatever it is you're using and eliminate all the slop and play out of there, even with gloves on, because of this nice handy throw lever that's on the side. So it allows you to put more torque on whatever the fixture is, and it allows you to get any play or slop that's in there removed easily, so you don't risk whatever you have in there sliding out and dropping on the ground. So we feel like that's a very valuable feature for both of these products. That, again, that's something that separates us from most other companies in this space. All right, so now we'll talk about the biggest difference between these two units. We already talked about the dimensions, size, and weight, that sort of thing. But they do operate a little bit differently. They both have, I guess, advantages and disadvantages. The big thing to remember is that there's give and take with all of these things. There's no perfect solution. So if you want something, you have to give something else up. That's just the way life works. So the big difference between these, other than dimensions and weight, is the way they're fundamentally structured. Where the BOG Deathgrip, you have to do all of your height adjustment with the legs. And that can be very inconvenient if you're in the field and you have an animal in front of you that you're trying to shoot at, and you have to change position because the animal's moving, and you have the tripod at the right height, and then you go to adjust and it's not at the right height anymore. So that can be really inconvenient to have to fuss with the legs to try to get, at the right height. A lot of times it's going to be quicker to just try to adjust your body to the height that you need, but then you're shooting from an uneasy, unstable position. So there can be some delays associated with that type of system. Where the Thorofare, we thought it was really important that we have quick adjustability. So you see there's a center column in the center of this tripod and a little lock ring at the top here, which as soon as you loosen that, it allows you to quickly change your height and then lock it back down. So if you do have that situation where you have a moving animal and you have to change the direction you're facing and it's not at the right height, you need to adjust it quickly, you can just hold on to your weapon, loosen this, and then be able to get a quick height adjustment and then tighten it back down without having to mess with the legs. So the feedback we've got on that has been tremendously positive. People have raved about how helpful that is to have that feature. So that allows you to still have a higher maximum height than the BOG Deathgrip, but in a smaller package that's more modular and portable. This BOG Deathgrip is an incredibly popular product. There's hundreds of thousands of them out there. A lot of you guys already have them and don't want to, take a loss trying to part with it or whatever. So we came up with this adapter kit so that way you could get full functionality out of it and make it as good as it could be without, having to sell it and take a hit on it. So if you already have one of these and this type of setup is going to work good for you, like a lot of guys, so like if weight's not a primary concern, or you're hunting out of a box blind, or you're shooting repeatedly at prairie dogs and you're in a seated position where you're not worried about moving around a lot, you're not worried about a tremendous amount of height adjustment, this is an awesome option. The BOG Deathgrip is excellent at that because it's very stiff, it's very rigid, but it is heavy and it lacks a little bit of modularity. So if you already have this and it sounds like that's going to work for you, then our DGA 2.0 adapter kit is probably all you need to get the most out of that tripod. Where if you're going to be a lot more mobile in your hunting, weight is at a premium, and you need that quick modularity and adjustability, then the Thorofare is probably the best choice for you. You do give up a tiny bit of rigidity, but that's the way life is. And both of these products are usable from the prone position all the way to standing. The Thorofare, you do have to install the little 2-inch center column to be able to take this all the way prone. When both of these tripods are in the prone position, the interface here on the clamp unit is about 8 inches from the ground. So it's very similar to bipod height. And I've shot prone with both of them and they both work excellent. With the Thorofare, we do also sell additional ball mounts if you don't want to have to twist this loose and move it from one column to the other. So that's an option. And then I already mentioned these quick release ARCA plates. Both of the kits do come with one, but you can get additional if you want. Actually, I think the Thorofare might come with two, but I know the DGA kit comes with one. You can buy additionals if you think you're going to need them. And then we also make and sell a 3-inch ARCA plate that has M-LOK interface. So if you have an AR or a bolt gun that has M-LOK slots in it, you can easily mount our 3-inch ARCA plate to that, and so it will interface with both of these products. And while we're talking about ARCA plates, there's one thing I want to mention briefly. This rifle we have here is Dale's short-barreled 223 Ackley Improved that he currently has mounted up in a factory Remington 700 synthetic stock, and the way it's interfaced with the tripod here, just to talk a minute or so about this, we came out with this is actually a prototype. We came out with a new product, and it's a Remington 700 ARCA plate that allows you to attach it to your Remington 700 synthetic factory stock. And the reason we thought that was important was that there's a lot of these rifles out there, a lot of these stocks out there, and a lot of times they're on relatively inexpensive rifles, like something you might have for your kid, or something that, if money's tight, there's a lot of these around. And we thought it would be a good idea to come out with an ARCA plate that you could easily attach to this factory stock yourself, which would give you the ability to interface it with a tripod, whether it's our Deathgrip adapter kit or our Thorofare. So that way you don't have to buy a whole new stock, and you don't have to necessarily use a saddle clamp if you don't want to attach to these tripods. So there's nothing really out there like this. Most of the ARCA plates and accessories and things like that are designed for ARs, or like I already said, have M-LOK slots that are, you know, you got to have M-LOKs on your stock or you can't use them, or you got to grind stuff off to try to jerry rig it. So we thought this would be something that would be really helpful, especially because these tripods can be super useful for youth hunters and the younger crowd. You know, I use these tripods all the time teaching my son how to shoot. He's turning 9 on Sunday, and what little kids lack, you know, they have the hand-eye coordination to shoot well. What they lack is the strength and the balance and the muscle dexterity to hold the rifle still. So this can be an excellent way to teach them fundamentals and teach them how to shoot and teach them rifle safety and that sort of thing, and start working on their marksmanship without having to worry about holding the rifle steady. So this is a relatively inexpensive way that you can get these factory Remington 700 rifles attached to these tripods and help eliminate that stability issue. And even if it's for yourself, like if you're hunting out of a blind or whatever, if you have a factory rifle and you don't want to change the stock, you know, I think we're going to sell this plate for somewhere in the $80 neighborhood, and it's going to come with all the hardware you need to attach it, and drill bits and, you know, everything you need to secure it. But at that relatively low cost, that saves you from having to buy an entirely new stock when all you really want is the ARCA plate. So I'll be doing a full video on that. I'll probably link it up in the corner of this video once I have it done. But that's just something I want to talk about. So that's another accessory that we offer for rifles and tripods. So now the big question is, with all these tripods, is cost. What do these things cost? Well, you know, when you put costs in videos, it kind of dates the video, but I think it's helpful, at least at this point in time, for a comparison. You know, if you bought, so we'll start with the BOG Deathgrip. If you have an aluminum Deathgrip, you're going to have, at the time of this recording, these sell for about 220 bucks. By the time you get our DGA 2.0 adapter kit purchased and installed, you're going to add another $180 to that. So now you're up in that $400 neighborhood to make this thing as good as it can be. Our Thorofare tripod sells also for $400. So there really isn't a difference between these two. Now if you have the Deathgrip carbon fiber version, it's going to be another $140 over and above. So now you're at that $540 mark. And if you have the BOG Deathgrip Infinite, that I think that's selling for similar to the DG or to the Deathgrip carbon fiber. So it's in that $340 to $360 neighborhood. We do make a kit for that as well. It's different from this one. It just needs a few more parts. But we do make a kit for that Infinite, because we had guys calling and saying, you know, I bought the Infinite thinking that they came out with one with a ball mount and that was going to solve all my problems, but I still don't like it. So we ended up making a kit to retrofit that as well. So if you have an Infinite and our DGA 2.0 kit for that, you're still going to be in that $540 neighborhood to retrofit that. So the cost of these things can escalate very quickly, and because of that, we wanted to bring our Thorofare in at that similar price point and try to give you as much as we could for that same dollar value. It's really just up to you to decide which one is right for you, which features are most important for you, and I was hoping to just try to clear some of that up with this video. One thing I forgot to mention too is that another accessory we offer is a Sunway Photo saddle mount. So the Thorofare does not come with a saddle mount, but that's an option. It's a checkbox you can check if you do want a saddle mount. If you don't have an ARCA plate or Picatinny rail attached to your rifle and you need to be able to squeeze onto the side of the stock, we do offer the Sunway Photo saddle mount. We think it's the best one for aftermarket saddle mounts. I think it's about 17 ounces, and I think we're selling them for $89.95, where the BOG Deathgrip does come with a saddle clamp, but a lot of people don't use it because it weighs 2 pounds. So they'll try to figure out a way to, you know, interface their rifle directly with the ball mount to get rid of that 2 pounds of weight and get this thing down to 6.6 pounds. So I think that's it. I just wanted to go through the different features of these and hopefully try to answer some questions and do a side-by-side comparison. You know, costs are very similar. They just operate a little bit differently, and you have to figure out, for the type of hunting you do, which is best for you, and make an informed decision and run with it. So I think that's it for now. I'll link link the product pages down in the description of this video for these two products. So if you're interested in one of them, you can just click the link below down in the description of this video. I think that's it. Like, subscribe, share with your buddies, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.